Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Hub's Direct Grant Overview webinar for fall of 2025. I will remind everybody that we are recording this session and that we do have the Q&A available for you to ask questions. Please use the Q&A rather than the chat function so that I see your questions pop up. If you weren't on when I mentioned a few minutes ago, I will answer questions. If I don't do it during the course of the overview, I will do it at the end. So stick around and I will answer them. The recording also will be made available on the Hub's website, which is marquette.org/the hub. And with that, I think I'll just go ahead and get started. So this is me. I am Erica Huss. I'm the program manager for the Central UP Small Business Support Hub, the Hub. That is my contact information, and you are welcome to contact me directly if you have questions. So what is the Hub? Many of you have been here before, and I know this might be old to you, but we do have more businesses joining and becoming participants every day. So I'm sure there are some people on here who aren't as familiar with the Hub. So essentially, the Hub was made possible by an American Rescue Plan Act, or ARPA, state and local fiscal recovery funding, which was just supplied to the U.S. Department of Treasury. They in turn supplied it to the state of Michigan, who awarded it to the Michigan Economic Development Corporation, who requested local entities to create hubs throughout Michigan to address the needs of small businesses that had been adversely impacted by COVID-19. So the objectives of the program are to increase businesses' access to regional, state, and national small business resources, and to expand Hub Network partners' geographic reach into underserved and rural areas. So all of the agencies that are already in the area and regionally that are available to businesses, we want to make sure that businesses are getting connected with them. That's the Hub's primary goal. And our grants are a way of getting people interested in talking to us so that we can connect them with all of those resources. We have 3 hubs in the Upper Peninsula. The rest of them are downstate, although we do have a second hub which covers the UP, which I'll tell you about in a minute. We are the Central UP Small Business Support Hub. We cover Baraga, Marquette, Dickinson, Menominee, Delta, Alger, and Schoolcraft counties. Baraga is the lucky one. They are also covered by MTech Smart Zone. We also have another smart zone, or not a smart zone, another hub in the East End, which is Chippewa County EDC does that hub, and it's run by Headwaters North. Throughout the UP, what you have available to you is your specific hub for your area, as well as the SBAM, or Small Business Association of Michigan. They have a hub that is available to second stage businesses. And a second stage business is one that is established, has been established usually for about 2 years, and is in a period of growth or expansion. And so you have a couple of opportunities. If you'd like to know more about the SBAM, Small Business Support Hub, as a second stage business, contact me or your hub navigator, and they will get you in touch with Jared Hockmuth, who is our SBAM navigator for the UP. Onward. Lake Superior Community Partnership serves as the coordinating partner for our hub, which is a collaboration of 7 strategic partners. In other words, all these partners got together and designed this program, or envisioned this program, and applied to the MEDC for the funding to make it happen. And the Lake Superior Community Partnership is the coordinating partner, and that's who hired me to help make this program possible for you. We also have a senior leader from each of our partner agencies that serves serve on the Hub's Advisory Council, and that is the council that will ultimately help us make decisions about the direct grants to be awarded. Is my business eligible? So those of you who are new, if your business is located within one of our counties, listed there, it's independently owned and operated, employs less than 500 people, isn't dominant in its field of operation or has a illegal monopoly. It's not a nonprofit. It's not in the cannabis or casino gaming industry, then yes, you're eligible. So what can the hub provide you? Well, in addition to the direct grants, which we're going to talk about, connections. We're going to connect you not only to these strategic partner agencies, but we'll work on connecting you to each and every local agency. Your local Michigan Works, which covers, of course, the whole Upper Peninsula. They have services that are available to businesses. We're going to connect you with your local Economic Development Corporation, your DDA, your Chamber of Commerce. Pretty much everybody that can keep you in the loop and keep you in touch with whatever resources are available as they become available. We're also working on a resource guide, and we send out information about subscribing to newsletters regarding general business information and assistance, or specific to different types of businesses, such as food service businesses. So we also have quarterly events, training programs, networking. Our events can cover anything from the new Lara Business Registry portal to cybersecurity, to how to apply for grants other than ours and how to search for them. Just whatever we find, marketing, how to make sure your Google marketing is where it needs to be. So a lot of different things. And many of them we have recorded, and those resources are available on our website, and any of the recordings that we have made available. And of course, direct grants. So who are we? I introduced you to me at the start of this. My name is Erica Huss, of course, and I'm the program manager. These are the small business resource navigators. They are our boots on the ground. They are the people who are going to work with you in your respective counties, or Robin also works with tribal communities throughout the central UP. We have Jose, who is in Dickinson, Menominee counties, Alana in Alger, Delta, and Schoolcraft counties, and Liam in Marquette County. So when you sign up to be a hub participant, these are the first people, they're your first contact. They are our small business development specialists. We call them navigators, and they will help guide you through and connect you with all the resources that are available in your particular area. How can I become a participant? Well, first, get connected. You can scan this QR code. You can go to marquette.org/the hub. Don't worry, I'll have that at the end of the presentation. And once you have completed the intake form, you'll receive an email as soon as you submit it from your small business resource navigator, providing you with some information on how to contact them and schedule a meeting to get started. So what have we got available to businesses now? So we $426,315 of the grant provided was allotted to us to provide direct grants to eligible hub program participants. We have had 3 application windows so far. We've awarded over $325,000 in direct grants. We have a little over $102,000 left. However, the reimbursements are still coming in from the first 3 windows. So if the awardees from the first 3 windows don't utilize all the funds, we will make those funds available in the 4th and final window. So that's what we have available at the moment. Our direct grants must be obligated to the business before February 1st of 2026. And all of the funds must be expended and reimbursed to you by September of 2026. So it's your due dates are going to be probably well before September 2026, possibly the end of July or August, but that will be in your contract if you're awarded one. And that is because we will have to do our final accountability and assure that everything's expended when it's supposed to be. That's all per the federal grant source, so no control there. Impact. What is our impact so far? Well, as you can see here, there's quite a number of people that have applied. We had 72 applicants the first window, 72, I think 71 the second window, and 61 the third window. And that's how they break down by county, how many applicants we've had for direct grants. And then this pie wedge circle here shows you the dollar amount awarded to each county, which makes sense more so when you look at the number of applications that were provided in each county. So we're trying to get the word out, trying to make sure everybody in each county knows what's available and also has the tools and the assistance they need to write a good application. I'll talk a little bit more about that later. Eligibility. So in order to be eligible to apply for a direct grant, you have to be a hub participant. Again, to be a hub participant, you have to do the intake form, and then once you're accepted as an applicant, you also must be registered with the State of Michigan Department of Licensing and Regulatory Affairs as a business in Michigan. And we can help you with that. We have a partnership with Innovate Marquette, which will help assist you if you would like legal services to help you file your LLC. And we can also refer you to MIS BDC, who helps people get ready to file on their own. So in order to qualify for a grant, you do have to be registered. You also need to have completed one of the two following: either attended an event, a hub event like this one counts. This is, so if you attend today, then it does count, or be actively engaged with your hub business navigator and the small business support or services that they've referred you to. So you need to connect with your navigator and then give them an update within 4 months prior to the window opening, which we're pretty close to that. So if you just connect with them now, then and keep them up on your progress that you're following through, then you will qualify. If you do those things, when the grant window opens, oh my goodness, somehow I just ended up at the end here. All right, try this again. When the grant window opens, then I will send you an invitation to apply. So what can they be used for? We're there? Yep. What can they be used for? Equipment, inventory, software, and hardware, the cost of any single unit of which cannot exceed $4,999. The reason for that is because a funding source would like this money to be usable to you immediately and beneficial to you immediately. And you can write an expenditure on a piece of equipment off on your taxes if it is under $5,000. So $4,999 less, you can write that off the first year. That does not include taxes or shipping, the actual price of the item. If the item costs more than that, then you have to spread that out over a period of years. You're not able to write it off on your taxes the first year. So that's why it's set up that way. And no, you can't get a piece of equipment for $7,000 and pay the difference yourself. Any piece of equipment that you get must be under that $4,999 limit. You can also get highly specialized consulting services. Say, for instance, a website, someone who's going to optimize your website or add a new service to your website, booking service, something like that, that you wouldn't be able to do yourself, or that the hub wouldn't be able to provide to you. service providers. It's another benefit. We have services by a bunch of the partners, and you get to learn about those if you participate. So, initial certifications or licensures, which must be received before September 30th of 2026, and you will have to provide proof that that certification or licensure has been received, accomplished. This is not renewals, so if you already have a certification, it will not pay for a renewal. In other words, we want to make sure that this is the next step for you is providing additional value and or services for your business that will keep you going and make sure that you're doing better. So if you already have it, that's general overhead. If it's new, then that could provide additional benefit, and that's something that would be eligible. And then this one opens the door wide. Any other hub approved cost that is not an ineligible cost. And what that's going to mean is that you have to ask for it because we won't be able to tell you automatically upfront on some things because businesses will be applying for everything from soup to nuts because every business is different. So the big qualifier for all of this is that it provided, those things are eligible, provided the funding that you'll receive drives stabilization or increases revenue and fulfills a need that cannot otherwise be met through a hub program or service. So when you remember the purpose of the grant funding, which is to help the entire region recover from the effects from COVID-19, the businesses that were lost along the way and the businesses that still are struggling, this is why. That's the whole purpose for the money. So essentially they need to know that federal grant wise that this money is doing what's intended to do, that it helps stabilize your business, increase revenue, and fills a need that the hub can't otherwise get you. Inventory. I do want to caution people of inventory. This is one that comes up often. People say, wait, it says I can do inventory, but the feedback that I've gotten when I applied is that the inventory I requested wasn't an eligible cost. So here's the thing. It cannot be something that's general overhead for your business. So if you sell widgets and you're simply asking for more widgets to sell, that's like a subsidy, and it's not something that's going to increase your revenue, fill a need, drive a stabilization in the way that an expansion to wholesale or a diversification with a new product line or a new service is going to. So your inventory items that would be eligible are things that relate to diversifying what you offer, whether it's products or services, expanding into a new market or demographic, or expanding your operations into wholesale operations. Review and scoring. The review process for accepted applications is that they will be independently reviewed by 2 hub navigators and myself. The final score will be the average of the 3 reviewers' scores, and our Hub Advisory Council will review the top 20 scoring applications. All applicants will be notified within 45 to 60 days after the application window closes. And the reason for that length of time is because we read every word of each and every application and we score them out, and then we have to compile them in a way that we can present them to the Advisory Council to review in a pretty short period of time to make their determinations. So during that review, we may, though we might not, there's no requirement. We may request additional information or clarification from applicants regarding their proposed projects. The hub may elect to award a direct grant of a lesser amount than was requested in the application. So you may have an application that we think is well written and ticks all the boxes, but some of the items may be determined not something that the advisory council would approve of awarding funding for, or we may want to spread the funding out, so supply funding to more folks. But again, that's a may and not a will. It may happen, but might not also. All right, how do you apply? Well, first, as we said, you need to be a participant. So you have to complete the intake form. You have to meet with your small business resource navigator at least once before the application window opens. And within those 4 months before the application window, which right now it's only about a little over a month, you will need to participate in at least one hub event. Yes, today counts. In one of our events, which is a program or a training or networking session, or actively engage in the small business coaching and consulting services provided by your navigator or a comparable business development specialist that he's referred you to, such as the SBDC, Accelerate UP, and we have several other places that we could refer you to. So as long as you're engaged and letting your navigator know that you're working on the things that you've talked about, then you would be eligible. If all those things occur, then when the grant window opens, I will email you your invitation to apply. Approved applications. Expect an invitation to an exclusive webinar going over application tips and tricks, date to be determined. Actually, my apologies, this should be approved applicants, not approved applications. So if you meet all the criteria and I send you the invitation to apply, then you will also probably within the week after you receive the invitation to apply, you will receive an invitation to an exclusive webinar in which we go over the application itself and tips and tricks and how to write your proposal and prepare your budget. That is only available to applicants that are eligible for the final grant cycle. Just a quick reminder, those of you who may have applied for previous cycles, if you haven't reconnected with your navigator, or then you do need to do so before this application window opens so that they can update our database and indicate that you are eligible, that you are still working with them, and also that you've attended an event. So just a quick reminder, I don't see any questions in the Q&A. If you have some, please do put your questions in the Q&A and I will answer them as we go or at the end. All right. To learn more, you can go to centralupsmallbizhub.org, or you can also use these QR codes that we've provided. We also have our LinkedIn and our YouTube, which has a lot of our webinars, including this one will be up on there once we get the recording processed. Also, marquette.org/the hub works just fine. We have lots of resources on our website. If you go to our website, you can get connected, you can apply, you can watch the direct grant webinars and all of our other webinars. And now we're to questions. Typical amount awarded for the grant. Thank you, Jana, for asking that one. The first round was $5,000. Successive rounds, you can apply for up to $10,000. We do ask applicants not to do a laundry list. Make sure your project is focused and well-defined, and that the purchases that you have are all going towards an actual project. If it's a shopping list, then that's not going to score as well. I feel like I'm missing some things here. Let me go back. I did. Okay, I'm going to go back a little bit here. Okay, so we went into what they could be used for. we do need to go into what they can't be used for. All right. Typical amount awarded. It depends on the applicant, and we've had applicants awarded in the $2,000 range, and we've had even when they're 10,000 is being requested, and we've also had applicants that apply for and get the $10,000. Yes, Janae, the next window opens on October 10th, and I will get to that in just a minute. It looks like I skipped a couple things, so I'm going back. And now, yes, Deb, thanks for bringing that up. I am going to go over right now what you cannot use it for. So, things you can't use it for. General overhead, rent, lease payments, utilities, professional membership dues, personnel costs, short-term advertising, renewals of your certifications, licenses, and subscription services are all general overhead. So basically anything that's would be considered a cost of doing business for your business is general overhead and won't work. General infrastructure projects and building-based construction or renovation. Essentially, anything that would disturb the structures or the ground. And we do mean anything. Those of you who have used AI functions, I recommend that if you have a project that you're thinking, well, it might be or it might not be, it's going to require some plumbing or some wiring, then provide this information to your chatbot, your AI, and ask it, give it a description of your project and ask it if it would qualify. And it will supply you an answer and explain why what you're asking would be considered building-based construction or renovation or a general infrastructure project. And I'll be honest with you, that's what I do. If something is really iffy and I'm not sure, that's what I'm looking for. I will talk to an expert at the MEDC about whether or not it's allowable. So anything that disturbs structures or the ground. Direct grants may also not be used for, we put this in both sides, any single piece of equipment that costs over $4,999. That is irrefutable. We cannot change that. Costs incurred before the grant is awarded. So make sure that you have your signed agreement with all three signatures, yours, mine, and LSCP CEO Christopher Germain, before you purchase anything. You will get an email that says your direct grant is now fully executed and you may begin purchasing. Don't buy anything before that, or it cannot be reimbursed. Costs that have been or will be reimbursed. So that's probably what I didn't say. This is a reimbursement type grant. So you will get approved, your project will get approved. If you're given an award, your project is approved, and then you will have to submit all of your information to be reimbursed. It will be reimbursed with a single check, a single or direct deposit, a single reimbursement, which means you need to have completely finished your project and then utilizing the online form provided, upload your receipts and pictures of your finished project and in order to be reimbursed for your costs. So you have to figure in that you're going to be asked how you're going to pay for it until you can be reimbursed. All right. Costs that have been or will be reimbursed. So no double dipping. We're not going to pay for a project twice over that any other funding source has paid for you. Projects contrary to efforts to stop COVID-19, of course, because that's where the funding came from. A business may only receive one Small Business Support Hub direct grant. As we mentioned, the hub, Central UP's Small Business Support Hub, is one of 27 hubs throughout the state, and the SBAM hub does cover all of the state of Michigan. So if you got an award from the SBAM hub, you could not get an award from the Central UP hub or any of the other hubs. So that's what that means. When are they available? So the first three windows are grayed out. Our next window and our final, this is it, opens on October 10th of 2025 and closes on November 7th, 2025. We recommend that you do not wait, that you be ready to submit your application at least 2 weeks prior to the end date in case you run into any snags. It also gives the opportunity for questions or revision if you think of something. Um, it also gives you an opportunity, if you have it ready 2 weeks prior to the close of the window, for you to talk it over with your navigator. Or your navigator might even ask for a meeting with me, or submit your questions to me so that we can make sure that you have the best application possible. So again, don't wait until the last minute. I say it every time and people always do. 3/4 of our applications come in the last 3 days. Don't be that. Anyways, so tentative notification we hope to have before Christmas. Well, we will do our absolute best to do that for you. So, guidelines and criteria. The direct grant guidelines are available on our website. QR code, there is our URL. I do have to make one quick update to those direct grant guidelines, and that's about the inventory because that was a question that has come up more and more. So the information that I included in the slideshow about differences between what is allowable inventory versus what is not allowable inventory, I do need to update in the guidelines. Other than that, everything is in there. Here is the basics. Up to $10,000 maximum award for this window. The grant process is competitive. When we have 62 people applying, 62 to 72 people applying, and it gets winnowed down and we award somewhere between 16 and 17, it's very competitive, which means do take a look at the guidelines, do follow them, use the rubric and make sure that you're meeting every piece of it, because our applications and our projects have gotten better and better. People are following those things more closely, and we have a good problem. It makes it difficult to um, uh, to score them, but it's a good problem to have. Let's see. I think I have a few more questions here. Question is, so it's probably best to identify one particular item that is a high priority by the business and keep that amount under 5K. Absolutely. You could have two priority items, but any item that you get has to be under 5K, period. Next question, would a website or a new website be an allowable project? Yes. Websites, new websites, and or a revised website. Again, it's competitive, and it will also depend on what that website is designed to do and how the advisory council views it. So there's going to be a lot of leeway here. Um, it's it's an allowable project, and how well your application fleshes it out and how well the advisory council and reviewers ultimately determine that it fits with the grant source's funding purpose will be whether or not it's allowable, whether or not it's competitive, not necessarily whether it's allowable. It will be allowable, just don't know how competitive it will be. New certifications and licenses, yes, absolutely. Those are eligible costs. Grants, okay, requirements. Grant funds are taxable, so any amount that you get is a taxable amount, so W-9 is required. Again, that's one of the reasons for that maximum $4,999, because these funds are taxable. We want you to, the grant funding source wants you to be able to write them off on your taxes. So, legal compliance, you must be registered and in good standing with LARA, the State of Michigan Licensing and Regulatory Affairs. You must be current on your state and federal tax obligations or be on a repayment plan. Direct Grant Toolkit. Here are the best tools to help you with writing your project proposal and your budget. So those links will take you directly to the appendixes that are also available on our website under the Hub Resources drop-down menu. And there is a template for your proposal, an example proposal, a budget template, which and a fillable budget template form, all to help you get the best project and proposal possible. Let's see, I think I see another question. Let's see, it says, what about if I'm buying equipment for a new service being provided and I'm applying for one piece of equipment out of, let's say, 3 machines needed? So I think the answer here is that your project would ultimately be all 3 things, and in your budget, you would indicate that you're requesting funds to pay for 1 machine and that you are supplying a matching funds to buy the other 2 machines. If that doesn't answer your question, please ask again. Direct grant guidelines and criteria. So these are exactly what you're going to find on the website, but this is an overview. So take a look at the actual guidelines and criteria and make sure that you understand all the specifics. If you have questions, ask your navigator and or me. So your scope needs to be clearly defined and focused, and you need to have goals and objectives specified. So this is my project, this is what I hope to gain, this is the impact that I believe it will have on my business, and how soon you expect that impact to be felt. Timeline with benchmarks and completion date. This is a biggie. Many people say, I'm just purchasing a few things. I don't have a timeline and benchmark. Well, you do. No matter what your project is, no matter what you're purchasing, your timeline is going to be when you purchase it, how long it will take to receive it, when you will have it set up and implemented and in use at your business, and then once it's in use, how long before you expect it to start impacting your business. So that's your timeline with your benchmarks and an ultimate completion date. Your completion date can be before the impact. In other words, you're going to complete the actual project once you get everything set up and you have it implemented, but you're still in your timeline going to talk about when you expect to see impact on your business and the local community and your employees. So this is the next thing. It needs to explain how the project will drive growth, stabilization, or increase revenue. If that sounds familiar, it should. That's the entire purpose of the grant's funding source. So essentially, you need to explain how your project meets the funding source's purpose. So it needs to outline the resulting benefit to your business, your employees, the local community, and the local economy. So impact, we keep telling people impact is your ability to leverage sales, grow your customer base, or better sustain your business in some way. Your proposal needs to sufficiently demonstrate that all the proposed costs are eligible. And the way you do that is by supplying supporting docs. Down at the bottom of this slide, you will see recommended supporting documentation. So these can be an attachment at the end of your proposal. You should have a clean proposal, narrative, and a clean budget, and then you can supply attachments with your quotes and estimates for services. So say, for instance, that you're purchasing a website and paying for someone to design it, then you would have a quote for that, how much it's going to cost from the place that you are getting it from. And screenshots or photos of the products or links to the products that you're purchasing. essentially, we have to be able to determine it's an allowable or eligible cost. And the way that we do that, one of the ways is to verify that the pricing is accurate. All right, your budget. You will have a separate budget, but please take a look at the template provided. It needs to be in whole dollar amounts with totals rounded to the nearest hundred. Your budget needs to be consistent with the scope of your project and your project proposal. It needs to be sufficiently detailed, but not overly detailed. Refer to the prompts in your budget and template. And match. A match is encouraged, but not required. So for instance, as one of the participants today questioned, so if I have a project that's bigger than what this grant can pay for, then what you would supply, how you're going to pay for the rest of it. I do want to caution people, your project should not be the startup of your business that's going to take 5 years or your entire 5-year business plan or 3-year business plan. It needs to be a focused project. It can be more than the $10,000 that you're asking for. And that's where you show, okay, my project is a $20,000 project. These are the things within my budget that I am asking for the grant to fund. And then these are the things that I will pay for, or that the funding that I've received from a bank or in the form of a loan or from an investor or whatever. This is what the match is. Hopefully that makes sense. And again, you need supporting documentation for all of your costs attached somewhere at the end of your budget, at the end of your proposal. But things should be clean, easy to read, easy to get through, easy to score. This is the actual optional budget template that you can find. There is a fillable one on our website, and it gives you a description. So these are the categories that you can get funded. And then these are the things that you would put, examples of the things that you would put as a description in each category. This is our scoring rubric. This part is shaded. This is the impact that it drives stabilization, increases revenue, or impacts the business's ability to leverage sales, grow their customer base, or better sustain the business in some way. Again, that's the entire purpose of the grant funding, and that's going to be where the most points are awarded for your project proposal and budget. Take a look at these. They're very specific. I'm not going to read everything to you. It is within the direct grant guidelines. We do have bonus points for SETI ownership. I pretty much self-explanatory there. Rejection. Applications can be rejected. The Hub reserves the right at its sole discretion to reject applications that don't meet our requirements, including scope, eligibility, and allowable grant dollar use. There is a deadline. It is a JOT form, and it will automatically shut off at the deadline, and no further applications will be accepted. If your application is incomplete, it's missing necessary forms, missing its narrative, supporting docs, or a budget, then it can be rejected. And if the application doesn't follow the outlined application requirements, it can be rejected. Review process. I think this is where I picked up the last time. So we are back to the end. And any more questions that anybody has? I think I've responded to anything that was in the chat. I'm not seeing any more questions. Just a quick reminder, these are all of the agencies that have helped make this possible for you, and a lot of them have great services to offer you that, as a participant, we'll refer you to. So, all right. Thanks everybody for joining. I don't see any more questions, so I'm going to go ahead and sign off here shortly unless I see another question. Again, if you have further questions, please connect with your Small Business Resource Navigator or me, and we'll get them answered. Good luck, everybody. All right. Thanks for joining us. I'm ending it now. Have a good day.